What if the very thing you've been proud of, your whole life, is the reason people don't respect you? Look closely. The men who are always polite, always available, always understanding, always saying yes. Where do they end up? They're the ones whose time gets wasted, the ones whose money gets borrowed and quietly forgotten, the ones whose effort is expected but never appreciated. Their kindness doesn't protect them, it exposes them. This is the curse of the so-called good man. He believes that morality earns respect, that patience creates loyalty, that sacrifice will eventually be rewarded. But reality doesn't work that way. People don't honor goodness. They respond to strength. Weakness sends signals, and those signals are loud. Predators don't need words. They sense it in posture, tone, hesitation, and behavior. When you lack boundaries, you announce yourself as safe to exploit. When you avoid conflict at all costs, you label yourself harmless. When you give endlessly without protection, you become a resource, not a person. Every manipulator notices. Every selfish individual takes notes. Every user files you under easy. This is not bad luck. This is pattern recognition. Centuries ago, Machiavelli understood something modern men are taught to ignore. Power is not loud. Power is not emotional. Power is controlled calculation. True dominance doesn't shout. It waits. While emotional men react, strategic men observe. While weak men explain themselves, strong men let consequences speak. While nice men hope for fairness, powerful men prepare for reality. Today, men are conditioned to believe that softness equals virtue, that self-sacrifice equals honor, that tolerating disrespect makes them morally superior. That belief is dangerous because most people don't see kindness as purity. They see it as access. They look at your generosity and think, what can I take? They look at your patience and think, how far can I push? They look at your empathy and think, how much can I dump on him? Human nature is not noble by default. It is self-interested. When you give without limits, you teach people how to use you. When you help without standards, you train others to rely on you without respect. By the end of this series, you won't just understand this intellectually. You'll feel the shift. You'll learn how to control how you're perceived, how to shut down manipulation before it starts, how to carry yourself in a way that makes people hesitate before crossing you. You'll understand why excessive goodness weakens a man and how strategic restraint restores authority. Once you experience real respect, you'll never want to return to being the agreeable, disposable version of yourself. Say this and mean it. I refuse to be weak. I choose control. The nice guy is society's most convenient victim. You know exactly who he is. He's the man who lends money and feels uncomfortable asking for it back. He's the one who covers for lazy co-workers while they take credit. He stays late, works harder, and expects fairness to notice him. It never does. He believes he's building goodwill. What he's really building is permission. Permission for others to overstep. Permission to demand. Permission to take without returning. People don't look at the nice guy and think, what a good man. They think he won't push back. Weakness has a scent, and the people who exploit others are extremely sensitive to it. When you struggle to say no, when you always put others first, when you're terrified of disappointing anyone, you broadcast a message without speaking, I can be used. Machiavelli exposed this flaw in human nature centuries ago when he observed that men care far more about what benefits them than about your intentions. Your kindness doesn't protect you from this truth. It makes you vulnerable to it. Ask yourself something uncomfortable. Do you truly respect the person who drops everything every time you call? Or do you respect the one who sometimes says, I can't help right now? Be honest. The always available man fades into the background. He becomes furniture in people's lives. Useful, expected, invisible. But the selective man? When he chooses to help, it carries weight. Because you know it was a choice, not weakness. Respect follows standards. When you constantly accommodate others, you silently teach them that your time has little value, and people treat things with low value accordingly. If you don't protect your energy, no one else will. Manipulators understand this instinctively. They can identify a nice man within minutes. He's the one who explains himself too much, the one who apologizes unnecessarily, the one who gives when he should withhold. Once labeled, he becomes their default solution. Need a favor? Call him. Need emotional labor? Dump it on him. Need someone to absorb inconvenience? He's perfect. And the moment he finally pushes back, they act shocked, as if he broke some unspoken agreement. Here's the truth most men never hear. Stop being nice. Start being intentional. Help when it aligns with your values or strengthens your position. Decline when it doesn't. Put your needs first, not out of cruelty but out of survival. This isn't selfishness. Selfish people sacrifice others for themselves. Strategic men protect themselves so they can operate from strength. Once you establish standards, once your yes becomes selective, once your no carries finality, people change. They stop making casual demands. They measure their words. They respect your decisions because they know you make them deliberately. The nice man is consumed. The strategic man is respected. Being good is not enough. There are moments when goodness becomes a liability. Most men fail here because they confuse ruthlessness with cruelty. They think firmness makes them immoral. They think cutting people off makes them heartless. That belief keeps them weak. Machiavelli understood a truth that still terrifies people today. A man must learn when not to be good. Strategic ruthlessness is not about hurting others, it's about refusing to be harmed. When someone disrespects you, the nice man searches for excuses. He didn't mean it. She's having a bad day. I'll let it slide this time. That hesitation is exactly what the other person is counting on. They test once, then they test again, and when nothing happens, they escalate. Ruthlessness begins the moment you attach consequences to behavior, not threats, not emotional outbursts, consequences. When someone borrows money and avoids repayment, the nice man stays silent and hopes it fixes itself. The strategic man makes it clear the relationship has changed and acts accordingly. When someone repeatedly cancels plans or wastes your time, the nice man keeps rescheduling. The strategic man removes access. When someone talks down to you or crosses the line, the nice man tries to win them over with politeness. The strategic man either addresses it calmly or walks away permanently. This is not revenge, it's filtration. People reveal their character through patterns, not apologies. Endless forgiveness trains people to disrespect you. Selective tolerance trains people to respect your limits. Most people are accustomed to dealing with men who absorb abuse to avoid tension. When you stop doing that, the dynamic shifts immediately. They realize you're not safe to mistreat. They understand that poor behavior has a price. Strategic ruthlessness also means choosing your path even when it disappoints others. Sometimes growth requires saying no to people who benefited from your old weakness. Sometimes advancement means prioritizing yourself over group comfort. You don't owe everyone access to your time, energy, or loyalty. Ruthlessness is not constant aggression. It is precision. You don't apply it everywhere. You apply it when respect is violated. A man who never enforces boundaries teaches the world that boundaries don't exist. A man who enforces them selectively teaches the world to tread carefully. People don't respect kindness alone. They respect strength backed by action. Strategic ruthlessness is self-respect sharpened into a blade. Your emotions are not your enemy. Your lack of control over them is. Every time you react instead of choosing your response, you hand someone else leverage over you. Anger, guilt, fear of disapproval, the need to be liked. These are the buttons people press when they want to control you. The man who loses control first loses the game. Strategic men understand this. Power belongs to the one who stays calm while others become emotional. Emotional control does not mean suppressing feelings. It means not letting feelings decide your actions. When someone insults you, the weak response is immediate retaliation or defensive explanation. Both expose insecurity. The strategic response might be silence, or a measured look, or a calm statement delivered without emotion. That composure unsettles people. When someone pressures you into a decision, emotional men rush to relieve the discomfort. They say yes just to escape tension. Strategic men slow the situation down. I'll think about it. Those 4 words reclaim power. Machiavelli observed that intelligence is revealed by the company a man keeps. But who you allow into your life depends entirely on your emotional discipline. Men ruled by emotion choose allies based on how they feel in the moment. They confuse excitement with loyalty, charm with character. They say yes to opportunities without calculating the cost. They burn bridges they later wish they'd kept because they couldn't control their temper. Disciplined men operate differently. They assess before committing. They choose relationships based on respect and mutual benefit. They fight only battles that matter, and when they fight, they win. Emotional restraint builds trust. People know you won't explode under pressure. They know you won't make impulsive decisions that destabilize everyone involved. Control also means freeing yourself from approval addiction. The moment you stop needing validation, manipulation loses its grip. When you can delay gratification, pause before responding, choose logic over impulse, you operate from a position of authority. Practice this control in small moments. When criticized unfairly, when plans change unexpectedly, when someone tries to provoke you. These are training grounds. Each calm response strengthens your presence. The goal is not coldness. The goal is unshakable stability. A man who controls his reactions controls his relationships. A man who controls his emotions controls his life. People don't judge you by what you mean. They judge you by what they see. Intentions are invisible. Behavior is not. This was one of Machiavelli's most dangerous insights. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Very few experience what you truly are. Most men leave their image to chance. They assume that being decent will eventually speak for itself. It won't. Human perception is fast and unforgiving. Within seconds, people decide whether you're strong or weak, valuable or disposable. And once that judgment forms, it becomes difficult to reverse. If you appear accommodating, people push. If you appear uncertain, people lead you. If you appear harmless, people exploit you. Your image is built through repetition. How you speak, how you stand, how you respond when challenged, how quickly you explain yourself. Every unnecessary apology weakens your presence. Every over-explanation signals insecurity. Every avoided conflict confirms passivity. If you want respect, your behavior must demand it. Stop justifying your decisions. You don't need permission to have boundaries. Stop being constantly available. Scarcity creates value. Stop shrinking when tension appears. Calm firmness communicates authority. Image is not arrogance, it's alignment. If you want to be perceived as strong, your actions must reflect strength. If you want to be seen as valuable, your time must be treated as valuable by you first. Image is shaped in small moments most men ignore. Do you maintain eye contact? Do you interrupt yourself to accommodate others? Do you laugh when you're disrespected to keep the peace? People notice. There is no neutral behavior. Every interaction either reinforces your authority or erodes it. Perception becomes reality. If people see you as weak, they'll treat you that way. That treatment reshapes how you see yourself, and the cycle continues. But when you consciously build an image of competence, restraint, and self-respect, the environment adjusts. People choose their words more carefully. They hesitate before crossing lines. They take your presence seriously. Don't wait for others to recognize your worth. Design it. If you don't control your image, others will define it for you, based on how easy you are to handle. Your image is your social armor. Build it intentionally. In a world addicted to noise, silence becomes dominance. Most men are uncomfortable with quiet. They rush to explain. They rush to justify. They rush to fill empty space with words. This urge betrays insecurity. When you over-explain, you're subconsciously asking for approval. When you rush to respond, you signal that pressure works on you. Silence reverses the power dynamic. A pause before answering shows deliberation. It tells people you don't speak on impulse. Silence forces others to reveal themselves. Most people fear dead air, so they keep talking, and talking people leak information. Sometimes the most devastating response to disrespect isn't confrontation. It's nothing. A steady look. No reaction. No defense. Let them sit inside their own behavior. Machiavelli understood that timing is power. Words spoken too early weaken position. Words withheld create leverage. When someone makes an unreasonable request, don't explain why you can't. Say, "I'll think about it." Then stop talking. Now they're the one uncomfortable. Now they're the one justifying. When someone pressures you for a decision, silence slows the game. It buys you clarity. It signals independence. When someone criticizes unfairly, immediate defense often validates the attack. Silence lets the accusation hang unsupported. Silence also creates mystery. People are drawn to what they can't read. When your thoughts aren't immediately visible, your presence gains weight. This doesn't mean becoming antisocial. It means being selective. Every word should serve a purpose. When you speak less, your words matter more. When you don't react, others lose control over you. Train yourself to be comfortable with pauses. Let conversations breathe. Let people wonder. The man who doesn't rush to speak commands attention when he finally does. Silence is not weakness. It is restraint, and restraint is power. There is a critical distinction most men never learn. Being useful earns respect. Being harmless invites exploitation. Harmless men avoid tension at all costs. They stay quiet when they should speak. They step back when they should step forward. They mistake passivity for virtue. Machiavelli warned against this weakness. When he compared the fox and the lion, the fox sees traps. The lion frightens wolves. You need both. Usefulness comes from value, skills, competence, the ability to solve problems when others hesitate. People respect those who contribute meaningfully. Harmlessness comes from fear. Fear of conflict, fear of being disliked, fear of disrupting comfort. Harmless men never challenge bad behavior. They never enforce standards. They let dysfunction continue. Because intervention feels uncomfortable, that isn't goodness, it's avoidance. When someone is being treated unfairly and you stay silent to protect peace, you're not kind and you're irrelevant. When someone repeatedly exploits your generosity and you say nothing, you're not patient, you're permissive. When poor decisions are being made and you stay quiet to avoid friction, you're not supportive, you're complicit. People don't trust harmless men with responsibility. They know when pressure rises. These men disappear. They know when hard choices appear. These men hesitate. Useful men are different. They step in when situations turn difficult. They have uncomfortable conversations. They set limits that upset people. They're willing to be disliked if it means doing what's necessary. This doesn't mean aggression. It means backbone. Sometimes being useful means saying no. Sometimes it means confronting behavior others ignore. Sometimes it means becoming the obstacle to someone's convenience. That's why useful men are respected. They can be relied on when stakes are high. Harmless men are tolerated. Useful men are trusted. If you want respect, develop value and the courage to enforce it. Choose usefulness over harmlessness. Predictable men are easy to control. When people know exactly how you'll react, they don't respect you. They manage you. They know guilt will work. They know pressure will work. They know praise will soften you. That makes you a tool, not a threat. Machiavelli warned that survival belongs to the man who adapts. Those who behave the same way in every situation eventually get outplayed. Unpredictability doesn't mean chaos. It means refusing to be programmable. The nice man reacts on autopilot. Compliment him, he gives. Pressure him, he folds. Disappoint him, he explains himself. Strategic men pause. Sometimes they agree quickly. Sometimes they delay. Sometimes they decline without explanation. Because the response fits the situation, not expectations. When people can't predict you, manipulation fails. They can't push the right buttons if they don't know which buttons exist. This forces respect. Instead of assuming compliance, people must negotiate. Instead of demanding, they must persuade. Instead of controlling, they must consider your position. Unpredictability also makes your cooperation valuable. If your yes is guaranteed, it's worthless. If your presence is optional, it's meaningful. When someone knows you might say no, your yes carries weight. This protects your time, your energy, and your authority. It also protects you from your old patterns. Maybe you used to always say yes to extra work. Now you decide case by case. Maybe you used to always explain yourself. Now sometimes you don't. Maybe you used to always absorb disappointment. Now sometimes you walk away. This isn't manipulation, it's self-command. Instead of reacting to social pressure, you ask one question: what response serves my interests? Without being unfair, that pause changes everything. Predictability is comfort for others and danger for you. When people can't script your behavior, they must treat you as an equal, and equality is where respect begins. The world does not reward virtue, it rewards strength. It rewards those who understand that respect is earned, not given. You don't have to choose between being good and being respected, but you must understand this. Goodness without strength, without standards, without the courage to enforce consequences, is not virtue. It is weakness disguised as morality. Real power is born from strategy, not emotion, not blind sacrifice, not constant accommodation. Strength comes from controlling your actions, your image and your emotions. Strength comes from setting boundaries and defending them. Strength comes from being ruthless when necessary, not cruel, but precise. Strength comes from refusing to be manipulated, exploited, or diminished. Respect is not automatic, it is taught. If you show you have no limits, no standards, no repercussions for abuse, people will treat you accordingly. If you show you value yourself, protect your time, and will walk away from those who disrespect you, everything changes. Relationships evolve, interactions shift. People recalibrate their behavior, sometimes immediately, sometimes slowly, but they do recalibrate. The man who refuses weakness does not beg for respect. He commands it. The man who builds strategic strength is remembered. The man who allows exploitation is forgotten. Stop being everyone's nice guy. Start being the man whose presence demands consideration. Start being the man who enforces boundaries. Start being the man whose yes is meaningful and whose no cannot be ignored. The right people will respect you more. The wrong people will avoid you entirely. Either way, you reclaim power. Remember the affirmation: I refuse to be weak. I choose power. I choose control. Men who remain weak will always be ruled. Men who choose strength, strategy, and self-mastery are never forgotten.